I'm out here with a very nice young lady that's gonna tell her story. What's your name, dear?
Sunny.
Sunny, nice to meet you, Sunny. Where are you from originally?
California.
Wow, Cali to Philly. How old are you?
30.
How old do you feel?
60. Yeah, I feel 60.
What? Hey, tell us about your childhood. What was it like?
I grew up with my mom, just my mom. She worked a lot, but she always had me in like extracurricular activities, so it didn't feel like she was gone. I went to like a all Caucasian school. It was a good school. It was racist though, a little bit. And just that, I guess. I went to college, I'm educated, and my life didn't really like make a left turn until I went to college. So.
Okay, I hear that. Let's talk about children. Do you have any?
I have 3 children, 10, 5, and 3.
Okay. Where are they currently?
They go back and forth with their dad and my mom. I'm graced by God to still have custody of my children.
Okay, that's good. Are you in touch with your mother and father?
My dad passed about 3 years ago, but I talk to my mom every day. She's my rock, my best friend.
That's beautiful to hear. Do you have sisters and brothers?
I have a half brother in California.
Okay, so that's it? Nobody else?
Nobody else.
All right, let's talk about addiction. How did yours start?
I am a child of the Percocet era. So when all the doctors were getting extra money for prescribing opiates, I was about 12, 13. I had an unlimited refill of Vicodin when I was 12 for migraines. Come to find out, 10 plus years later, opiates actually exacerbate migraines. They don't help migraines. But that being the case, like while I was in high school, it wasn't abnormal for like you and your friends on the weekends to split a Roxy. You know, doing Percocets on the weekends was normal. And I smoked a lot of weed in high school. So then when I went to college, I went for a medical field and they urine tested you. Because weed is in your system for 30 days and opiates is in your system for 3 days. I had to stop smoking, and my opiate use really took off because I could hide it better. And from there it just kind of grew. The thing about heroin is, you know, when you're growing up, you hear about like the bad kids start sniffing heroin and you're like, oh my God, like the hell are they doing? And then a couple years later you hear somebody else is doing it and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And the more and more it's introduced to you, the less and less scary it is. Every kid has like that conversation with their parents that like drugs are bad, but I never really had that conversation. It was always just like the knowns, you know, you'll do heroin, you'll get addicted and die. But like when you grow up and see your friends doing it every so often and they're not getting addicted and dying, their lives are like normal, it gets introduced to you over and over. It gets easier to be like, all right, let me just try it once because I've been doing perks anyway. And from the first day I tried it, I've done it every day since. I did a quarter of a bag the first time I ever did heroin. I sniffed it and I went fishing. And for the first like 2 years of my addiction, my life didn't change whatsoever, which made it easier for my addiction to grow because I didn't think I was getting addicted and dying. The problem isn't the dope. The problem is when the dope runs out and you finally get sick for your first time, which don't happen for the first year because you still got people giving you money left and right. They don't know. And now, 10 years later, I've been in the Badlands for 2 years. Can't leave.
I'm so sorry that you're trapped in this vicious cycle. What's your living status now?
Excuse me. Right now, I rent a room every night for $20 because I have the ability to make that much money each day. But prior to that, I was sleeping at the train station on a piece of cardboard every night. Cops come and wake you up every morning at about 5:30. So when I first came out here, first I was driving out here every day. It was a 3-hour drive one way, 3-hour drive back, not to California, obviously. And then when I came out here, it was just supposed to be for a couple days. And a couple days turned into a couple months. And rather than kind of like terrorize my mom with like what really was going on, I thought it would hurt less if I just disappeared, rather than give her this continuous hope that I'm getting better, and then disappointment when I relapse, hope, disappointment. I just disappeared, and that's when she posted me missing. I've talked to her since, and you know, I have a better understanding now that, like, you know, regardless of what situation you're in, like, your parent just wants to know that you're alive and safe, for the most part safe. So I feel bad for when I put her through all them months that she thought I was missing. But
what it's like 24 hours in your life?
24 hours in my life. Normally, when I don't, should I wait for that to go by?
You're good.
When I don't pay to stay in a room, I wake up at the train station at 5:30, and I get on the train. I probably fall back asleep on the train. Oh, that's a beautiful dog.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, he's happy.
I probably fall asleep on the train for another like 4 hours, and then there's a spot down here that does breakfast Monday through Friday. So I'll go to the shelter and get food in the morning, and then I'll come out and have to hustle for my money. And I try to make it so it's not just like this monotonous cycle. So after I get well, I try to go do something with my day that doesn't involve drugs. So like I go to the library, I like to go to museums, stuff like that. And then you kind of have to be in this area to get the resources. So I gotta come back down here to get clothes and food and stuff like that. And it's just that every day. The train stops running at 12, so by 12 o'clock you better find a place to be or be outside.
It's a tough life, right? What advice would you give to your younger self?
To my younger self, I would tell myself to figure out who I am without another person earlier. Because before I came to Kent, for all the bad things that happen here, the last 2 years have taught me how to not be so codependent. Like if there's anything positive. Because before I came here, I was very, very codependent. My only identity was based off of who I was with or what I was doing. I'm this person's mom or this person's girlfriend, or et cetera, et cetera. And I think that going through life with that lack of identity is part of what made it so easy to pick this identity, you know. And I would have told myself a truer story about drugs. Not you'll pick up heroin and get addicted and die, or you know, marijuana is a gateway drug. I would have had a realistic conversation with myself about drugs. Like, you could pick up opiates and you might not become addicted and homeless and overdose right away or at all. 10 years, I've never overdosed. Everybody's biggest fear with opiates is that you'll overdose and die, but what about when your addiction goes so long that you want to overdose and you can't? You know?
That's deep. What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is I'll never be able to get right. You know that movie Life? That he can't get right? My biggest fear is that I can't get right.
What are some of your triggers?
Boredom, self-reflection. The thing is, after you live your life for so long with a crutch, when you don't have it, everything kind of like has this lackluster appeal to it. Like, the grass ain't quite as green, the sky's not quite as blue. It's like just little things. Like, you think you're gonna go to the grocery store. Like, for an addict, you do your drug of choice and then go to the grocery store. So when you're clean, like, that opening ritual of going to do something isn't there. Like, that in itself is a trigger. I believe in the disease of addiction, so I believe that addiction, you know, I was an addict before I ever picked up drugs. Drugs isn't the problem, it's the solution I'm choosing. But when the drugs are gone, like, what solution do I choose? I end up, in the past, I always get in a relationship, lose my identity to a man, or that's when you start acting out. You miss the lifestyle, you miss going out, and even less so than doing the drugs. Like, there's a thrill to, like, going out and, ooh, are the cops coming up this street, or like, who has what, like there's a thrill to the lifestyle. There's an addiction to the lifestyle that has nothing to do with the substance whatsoever. So that's a trigger, is like just how to be an adult without the use of a mind mood altering substance.
You speak very well, dear. Let's talk about your foot. What happened to it?
So it's not my feet, it's my calves. I walk a lot. I'm always on my feet. Because when you're homeless, there's not a lot of places to sit down. So, because my legs are always swollen, the drugs they have out here now, people have this misconception that there's this fentanyl epidemic. There's only a fentanyl epidemic for people who don't want to do fentanyl. For some reason, they've been putting like fentanyl in the like crack and in the weed and stuff. But people who are opiate addicts can't find drugs with opiates in them to save their lives. The drugs that they have down here mostly it's called tranq. It's actually xylazine. It's a chemical component of benzodiazepine, which is like Xanax, and like a MDMA piece. Essentially, your liver can't metabolize it. It's not water or fat soluble. So it comes out through your skin in the way that like meth heads fantasize that they have shit coming through their skin. Like xylazine really does. It attacks the weakest point in your body. I met a woman who had a hole in the back of her head. I've met people who have had it internally. I had it internally. It was on my carotid artery, this scar right here. Sometimes it doesn't come out externally. You can have it in your body and not know. I had it so close to my carotid artery that they had to do emergency surgery because I essentially could have just had like a stroke at any time. So now it's on my legs, and it's basically just like a really, really bad carpet burn because it's surface. And you just have to wait for the skin to grow back, which is hard when the xylazine is continuously attacking it, and my legs are always swollen. But they do have like a lot of wound care resources down here, which is nice. If you go 30 miles outside of this area anywhere, the hospitals have no idea what you're talking about. They don't know what xylazine is. They don't know what tranq burns are. Essentially, it's a chemical burn from the inside out. So.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that for us. How can society help you?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is education, or just having an understanding, because it's a really hard place to help an addict and not enable an addict. There's like a very fine line. And my sponsor is a very wise woman. She says, you know, like once money is involved in anything, as genuine as its intentions were, like it takes on, you know, it takes on other life. So like down here, for example, all the people who come down here to help, you know, they've got food and clothes, and you can go and get Suboxone prescribed to you in 5 minutes. And I'm sure originally all those things were supposed to be to help addicts, but then with how much money addiction and homelessness makes, you don't really want addicts to leave, because this area wouldn't have any money without us here. It's like the person who invented rape whistles. It's like you want to stop rapes, but you don't really want rape to stop happening, because nobody would buy your whistles anymore. Which is like a funny way to put it, but it's true. So I think mostly just having the understanding, because part of the biggest thing that keeps an addict in their loop is the stigma of being an addict. And the only way you can take the stigma away is to educate people who aren't addicts, so they have a little bit more care and understanding about these people.
Facts. Hey, you definitely dropping some knowledge bombs on us. I dig it.
I think a lot of times conversations about addiction are had without actual addicts in the room. I think maybe having like a more open conversation. Also, like what's happening here is a containment problem. They're trying to contain the problem of addiction and homelessness to one area, so the rest of the city doesn't see it. And by hiding it, there's not a conversation happening. Also, by hiding it, you're putting all the bad examples in the same place. So there's just this influx of people coming that have this drug problem, and people around here see it so much without really being a part of it, that I think they become desensitized to it. Everybody wants to get rid of the homeless drug addicts in the area, but nobody stops to think about like what life is that person leaving that they chose this existence instead. You know, like this existence is less pain to them than where they came from. People don't stop to think about it like that. So I think instead of trying to contain the problem so as few people see it as possible, because the few people that do see it don't have any emotion towards it anymore, to open it up, like show people what's happening here, because it's very, very easy to be a homeless drug addict here. There's free food and free clothes and free drugs every day. They actually have a hands-off policy here, so if you're doing drugs or have drugs, the cops can't do anything to you. They can only like stop you if they visually see you buying drugs. So they literally make it so that homeless addicts won't leave this area, because we can't get in trouble here. That's not trying to help anybody. You're trying to contain it. You're not trying to lessen it, and that just exacerbates the problem. Narcotics Anonymous says our secrets keep us sick. So if you have this little community that you're trying to keep secret, it's just gonna get sicker and sicker.
Facts. Hey, Sonny, you really got knowledge, girl. I'm learning so much from you. Now, what are your goals and dreams in life?
As silly as it sounds, I just want to learn how to be an adult, man. I just want to learn how to be an adult. Because when I get clean and then I go back to like life on life's terms, like all them corny slogans or whatever, but it's like I really just, I don't know how to be an adult. I don't know how to efficiently cook for myself or pay my bills. I don't really even understand taxes, mortgages, like shit like that, like things that like people kind of don't think about, like those things. Like my dream for myself is to just like be a regular member of society. Like I want to grow old in my house on my couch and like die in my sleep as an old lady. Like that's my dream for myself.
Got you. If your friends or your family see this video, what message would you like to send to them?
I apologize for everything I put my family through and the amount of love that they still have for me, especially my kids, man. My kids love me through the mud. Just that shit is irreplaceable. And for anybody who knows me, who sees this, like, don't think that it couldn't be you, you know? Like I said, like I'm an addict even without the drugs, so like maybe before you point fingers you should take a look at yourself and see what your addiction is, because anybody at any time is only like one wrong left turn from being here themselves. I never thought when I was growing up I would end up sitting on this sidewalk, so maybe like be a little less judgmental.
If you had 3 wishes in this world, what would your 3 wishes be?
That my kids never touch drugs, that I never touch drugs again, and that I get to a place in my life where I could take care of my mom instead of my mom taking care of me.
Beautiful. Hey AML fam, I want to tell the lovely Sunny thank you so much for being a ray of light and shining her light on addiction. The world needs to hear the truth so that way the future can be better for the younger generation. So thank you once again, dear. And before we take flight, is there anything you're in need of that we can help you with?
Clothes, really. I'm actually about to go to a hospital rehab, and from being out here, I really don't have nothing but what's on me. So just like a rehab care package, like something to take with me so that I have more than just what I'm in.
And once you get to the hospital, reach out to us. We'll definitely, send a lot of love to you. All right?
I got you.
Yeah. So guys, it's time for us to take flight. Don't be bitter, be better. Until next time, we out there. Peace out.